Hey horror fans, welcome back to another video on the Terror Talk channel where I give commentary on creepy stories and conspiracy theories. The music you hear I composed myself. If you're struggling financially like a lot of people are, check the pinned comment after watching. I have something that will help you out a lot. Now, let's get into it and have some fun.
This was a Monday night. I'd gotten out of work at 8 and went straight home to hop online and game with some of my buddies. I had gotten divorced a few months ago, which left me with just an empty house and not much to do outside of work. So, gaming with my friends all night was mostly all I did, and I can't say I didn't enjoy it. Anyway, I knew there was supposed to be a big thunderstorm overnight, and there were even flash flood warnings. But around here, they pretty much send out those warnings every time it rains, so it was never a big deal. At about 11 p.m., though, I was in the middle of a game with my buddies.
Have you ever been involved in something really scary involving a flash flood or thunderstorm? Let me know in the comments below because I really do enjoy hearing other people's experiences and stories with this kind of thing. For me personally, I never really have had a scary experience related to a flash flood or a thunderstorm. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you have.
When a sudden massive gust of wind slammed against the window next to me, and the entire house shook. I took my headset halfway off, and I could hear rain pouring down, and the house creaking and swaying violently. I turned back to my screen to tell everyone what was going on, but suddenly my screen and all the lights in my house flicked off for a split second, then right back on. I saw I was still in the Discord call, so I asked if they could still hear me. But before I got an answer, everything cut out. My PC shut down, and all the lights snapped off. The whole house was dark. I couldn't even see my hands in front of my face. I felt around my desk for my phone, then turned the light on. Annoyed, I got up and walked downstairs and up to the front window.
This is already super frustrating, isn't it? The fact that the whole power is completely out. And I have experienced that before. And it is just one of the most aggravating things ever. Like, I cannot stand that when that happens.
Honestly, it was hard to say if everyone else's power was off or not. I could barely see anything through the flood of rain that was pouring down. And most people's houses would usually be dark by now, anyways, since it was so late. I quickly sent a message in the group chat saying I probably wouldn't be on for the rest of the night. Frustrated, I used my little phone light to find my way to the basement. I went down and found my old battery bank. It wasn't much, but it was enough to plug a few lamps into so I could at least have some light. I grabbed it and started walking back up to the stairs when I thought I heard something behind me. It was just a bunch of boxes back there, but the wind seemed to pick up as soon as I turned around, so I assumed it was just the storm making the house make noises. I hauled the battery bank up to the first floor and plugged in one of the lamps in the living room. I'm not sure if this is normal or not, but I hated going to bed with the power out. Like I had to wait for it to come back on before I'd feel comfortable sleeping. So I opened up the blinds and sat on the couch.
You know, I really don't find that weird at all. Do you? Because I would hate falling asleep with the power out. Like, screw that, honestly. Because there's just something very uncomfortable about your house with the power being out, don't you think? Not that it's scary in a way. I mean, I guess it can be scary to some people, but it's just really uncomfortable because it's just not a natural thing.
Then took my phone out and used my data to scroll through YouTube. An hour or so went by before I got curious again, and this time opened the front door to look outside. My porch had an overhang that blocked most of the rain, so I stepped out and looked around. The storm was still raging on, but the houses across the street didn't seem to be off power. At least a couple of them had a light or two on in the windows. Now I was pretty confused. I looked up outages in my area, but didn't find much info. I went back inside. Oddly, only a minute later, I got a text. It was from a normal, unknown phone number, but essentially said that there was downed power lines and to expect power outages. I had no clue why I got a direct text, though, and the number didn't have an ID, like from ComEd or whatever. Strange, I thought, but I didn't look much more into it. I went back to the couch. Again, I was on my phone, but more so to just listen to videos while I watched the storm out the window. But then I heard something from the other side of the house. It sounded exactly like a footstep on one of the creaky wooden steps to the basement. I'd lived here long enough to recognize that sound. I got up, but walked slowly and quietly over there, wanting to hear if it happened again. The house was so dark, and my phone light only lit up a small view in front of me. I turned the corner into the hallway and shined the light down. Nothing was there. However, the basement door was open, like wide open. There was no way I left it like that. I walked up and shined the light down the stairs, but there was no way I was going to go down there to check anything out, not with no power on. I closed the door. I don't think I had enough time to really think about what this really meant. I walked into the next room. Light from the thunderstorm flashed in the windows, but when I looked around, I found nothing. A feeling built up in me, though, like something was off.
Yeah, this would be pretty unsettling, wouldn't it? To basically hear something coming from the stairs from your basement and then realizing that the door is wide open when you know you'd shut it. That would be pretty darn unsettling and spooky, in my opinion. And what would you do in this situation? Would you investigate? Or would you call the police and even get out of there? But, you know, it would be kind of challenging to get out of there because there's a thunderstorm going on and you don't want to get soaked either, but you also don't want to potentially be wandering around the house with some intruder in there, so that would be kind of a difficult situation to find yourself in, wouldn't it?
My gut could sense it. I started to walk back when suddenly heavy footsteps came running up the basement stairs. Even behind the closed door, they were loud and shook the whole floor. Without thinking, I ran up to the door and slammed my body against it. Not even a second later, they were on the other side trying to open it. Once they figured out I was there, they started hitting it and ramming their shoulder into it to try to force the door open. This was a regular basement door, so it had no lock on it. I didn't know what else to do. He pounded against it for a minute, but when I pulled my phone out and started calling 911, he stopped. I heard his footsteps go back down the stairs, and I took this chance to get in my car and leave. I tried to watch from the other side of the road to see if he left, but during the 10 minutes I waited, I didn't see anything. 3 officers went in and found nobody inside. He had left through the back door. What I find most disturbing about this situation is that we confirmed the text I received about the power outage was fake, like from a private personal phone. So whoever this guy was that broke in, he knew enough about me to find my phone number. He wasn't targeting just some random house. We think he texted me once he heard me go outside, probably knowing I was checking if other houses had power, and wanting me to not get suspicious and check the breaker box in the basement. There was no outage. He had shut off my power. That's about where it was left, though. No new info on who it could have been or what they wanted has been found out.
Yeah, that would be a pretty creepy thing to experience, wouldn't it? And I didn't think before he could have just left in his car, so I guess it didn't make much sense for me to say that he would have gotten soaked if he went outside, because he could have just gotten in his car and gone away, but at the same time, it's not always safe driving in violent thunderstorms, so I don't know. But the whole thing of this guy actually getting his number like that and targeting this house and trying to break down the door like that, that's pretty scary stuff. And I feel like one of the scariest things that can happen to you, honestly, because that is really not a great situation to find yourself in. So I feel like when he called the police when he did was the best move that he could have made. Because when you're in a situation like that and you do call the police, it generally scares people off. It scares the intruders off. So either way, I thought this was a pretty creepy story, and I hope you enjoyed my commentary and the music, and be sure to check the money saving opportunity that I have for you. So definitely check that out, and I will see you in the next video.